This is Lab 6 beverages, and I have my tea here that I need. So I have peppermint as one of my choices for herbal tea, and my other choice for herbal tea is going to be chamomile. I have black tea, I have green tea, oolong tea, and white tea, and I have water, and I have a kettle. This is heating at 160 degrees for the green and white tea. This is now 8 ounces of water that's been heated to 160 degrees going in for the green tea. And this is that same water going in for the white tea now. This is what the green tea looks like, and in terms of color, it looks like a brownish orange color, golden or amber even. And this was steeped for 3 minutes per the instructions. And the aroma, there's no true noticeable aroma that's present that I'm really noticing, but the astringency in terms of that, it's not really a strong scent, and it kind of tastes like something delicate. And in terms of flavor, there's not really a strong flavor, and I expected it to taste kind of grassy from other experiences having some green tea, but this was very flowery to me and even a little bit earthy. This is what the white tea looks like after brewing, and we can see that it's a pale yellow color and it's transparent. And in terms of the aroma, it smelled kind of floral to me. And the astringency, it had almost no taste and there's no true strong scent to it. And the flavor really wasn't much in there, but it was a very mild flavor. Now I'm moving on to another type of tea, and I'm gonna do the oolong tea. So I'm gonna get this prepared to heat up to 190. This is now water that was 190 degrees being poured in for the oolong tea. This is the oolong tea that was steeped for 4 minutes per the instructions, and we see that it's an amber color and it's also transparent. And the aroma was a little stronger than the green and white tea that I've done up to this point, and it's slightly floral and fruity. And for the astringency, it's slightly sweet and not bitter at all. And the flavor, again, I'd say it's still slightly sweet, fruity, and floral a little bit. And it's hard to describe exactly what it compares to, but I like this one. This is now preparing to boil for the black tea. This is the black tea, and this tea steeped for 5 minutes per the instructions. And it's an orange / kind of amber color, and it's transparent, although it does look kind of redder in this light. The aroma was floral scented to me, and it was a refreshing fragrance, and also too is sweet and mellow. And for astringency, this was not bitter, but it was more of an intense aromatic malty taste. And the flavor was bold, malty, earthy types of flavor notes. This is now boiling water going in for the chamomile tea for my first choice of herbal tea. This is the chamomile tea after it's been steeped for 5 minutes per the instructions. This is one of my favorite teas. It's a pale yellow color and it's transparent, as we can see. And it smells kind of sweet and straw-like type of fragrance, and it's very pleasant. And for the astringency, it's not bitter or anything like that. It's very pleasant, mellow, and honey-like. And the flavor was kind of the same way, and also sweet and mellow tasting. So this is one of my favorite ones that I always like to have. This is peppermint tea for my second choice of herbal, and this is one of my favorites. So this was steeped for 10 minutes per the directions, and it's an amber color and it is transparent, as we can see. And the aroma is strong, but it's pretty pleasant, like a candy cane or a peppermint. And in terms of astringency, it's not bitter or anything, but it's similar to peppermint candy or breath mints. Now, I will say that those candies like peppermint candy and breath mints themselves are pretty sweet, but the tea is much more subdued, and the minty flavor is what I'm noticing in this tea, and it's mildly sweet, and it's also, again, one of my favorites. Overall thoughts and a summary of what I had done for Lab 6 beverages, more specifically tea brewing. So what I had done is I obtained different variations of tea, which were black, green, oolong, white, and 2 herbal teas of my choice, which were chamomile and peppermint. And what I had done is I prepared water, which was 3 cups boiling for black and herbal teas, 2 cups at 160 degrees for green and white tea, and 1 cup at 190 to 200 degrees for oolong tea. And I placed each tea variation in a mug, and I poured 1 cup of water over each of the variations, and I steeped according to the tea's instructions, and I evaluated the color, aroma, astringency, and flavor in the table. Reflecting on this lab, I do not feel that I ran into any issues with it. I feel like it was pretty much smooth sailing, and I feel that it was a very straightforward lab and probably the easiest one in my opinion of the semester, and I really enjoyed completing it, so I don't feel that I ran into any issues with it. Talking about if the results of the lab were what I had expected, to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure what to expect with this lab. Obviously, I knew that I was going to come out with this lab and have different variations of tea by the end of it, and there were going to be some similarities and differences between them, but I really haven't had much experience brewing my own tea, and I really don't even have tea that often. I only have tea once in a while, and the times that I do, I've pretty much only had chamomile tea and peppermint tea, which peppermint tea is one of the things that I have at hand all the time because it's good for my Crohn's symptoms to help ease them. So if I'm feeling nauseous or if my stomach is really cramped up, I find that peppermint tea has done some wonders for that. But like I said, I really only have those teas once in a while. Although I did like the other teas that I tried during this lab. I especially really liked the oolong tea, which sounded interesting. And when I first read it, I was like, I've never heard that type of tea before, but I ended up really enjoying it. And I liked the black tea, and even the green tea I was surprised to like because I just kind of thought that didn't sound good to me, and I was like, oh, green tea, that just doesn't sound that appetizing to me, but I actually really enjoyed it, so I surprised myself there. And the white tea was good too, but it was pretty mild, but it wasn't terrible. So overall, I feel that, again, like I said, I was like, I knew I'd have tea by the end of it in different variations, but I was like, we'll see how this goes. But after this, it was good that I had some more experience with brewing my own tea instead of, just buying it from some other places instead. So I find that that was helpful, and I've had some more experience with that. And I even learned that, besides just chamomile and peppermint that I stick to, I like other tea variations, and I'd be willing to try some more. So I feel that I gained a lot of experience from this pretty straightforward lab. All right, for this last question of the food science lab, talking about the explanation of what the lab and the purpose of doing this experiment was, I wanted to record myself talking about that because I realized that in a lot of my other food science labs, I think all the other videos, I never really showed my face, but here I am, I'm the one that's been behind the camera, and I am a human being behind it all, so it's me, and this is my cat Provolone, actually, so I thought she'd make an appearance for the last video of the semester. But after completing this experiment, it helped me to gain experience in brewing tea, which was one of the purposes of completing this lab. I guess she wanted to go away. And also, too, to compare that there are different characteristics and qualities of teas, so it's definitely important when it comes to tea making, and even brewing it correctly has an effect on the taste and how it turns out. So those were some of the things that I brought home. I definitely think that brewing my own tea at home was a much cooler experience than just getting it at the store, and or even just going into Starbucks and getting it done there. And like I said before, I don't really drink tea that much. It's only once in a while, and it's really only the two that I talked about, which were chamomile and peppermint tea. But after trying some of these other variations, I was like, I really like this. So I definitely want to try having even more of these teas more often. Like I really, like I said, like the black tea. I liked the oolong tea especially. That was really good. So, and even the green tea. So that's definitely something I'd like to do. But point being, to gain experience in brewing tea was really helpful, and just being aware that there are different qualities of tea and characteristics. So when you're purchasing and buying tea and making tea, that's all important stuff to take into account.